Hello, all you loved individuals. This is Hope Only with I'm the Only Hope. And today in this podcast, we're going to be talking about specifically a viewer asked how to let go of hate for people that ultimately screwed you over, realizing the universe is too big and too unpredictable to waste days curled up watching Netflix, but it's still nice. Well, to this listener, it seems like you already know the steps you need to be taking to get past this event or this person that did you wrong, but I understand. So what we're going to get first is headspace. So these people or this person that did you wrong is taking up space in your brain right now with that hatred, with just whatever they did is taking up space in your brain, or as others like to call it, is living rent-free in your brain. Now, this person already took the time out of your life and the space out of your head to do these things to you, and they've already had their time. Their scene is over. It is your time now. Are you going to let them continue to have this area inside your brain where you are just stewing in bitterness over what they did to you? Because I'm going to look at you, well, not look at you because this is a podcast, but I'm going to say to you, do you really think they're thinking about you as much as you're thinking about them right now? Do you think they're actually thinking about what they did wrong to you? Or that they even care? Because if they did something that's equal enough for you to hate them, why are you the only one left thinking about this in the long run? Don't you think that's rather counterproductive? I understand thinking about how they did you wrong and then being hurt by it, of course, but the initial afterthought after that is your personal choice to continue to think about that and let that affect you in a negative aspect. And you said you want to realize that the universe is too big and too unpredictable to waste days. And I'm going to tell you, one drop of acid can burn through so many different materials and go so far before it reaches something that it can't get through. If it even can. I'm not a scientist by any stretch of the imagination, but hatred is like that drop of acid. It will get through every layer of your skin and initially get to your heart. And after that, it changes entirely who you are. Hatred is the root of bitterness. And if you want to be bitter, continue to hate. By all means, you are entirely entitled to your own actions. But if you want to get past this, you have to take a deep breath and realize you're probably the only person out of that situation that is still thinking about it so much. Yes, it sucks. But are you willing to let that ruin you? It's a very reflective question at the end of the day when you have these situations that come up, because there will be plenty in our lifetime. But when you get through these situations, are you going to come out the bigger person for this? Or are you going to continually get more and more bitter throughout your life? That's the only way I can explain it, is these people are going to continue to do things that will hurt and make others hate them. And you can't control that. The only people you can control is yourself. The only person that you can change the mindset, the attitude, the genuine just overall personality and reaction to things is you. You are in control of you, no one else, and you are in control of nobody else. And the sooner you realize that other people are going to continue to be horrible people or just make mistakes even, the sooner you will be free. And you want to not waste your days just curled up watching Netflix. As nice as it is, I 100% understand staying inside all day. I mean, for Pete's sake, I'm making a podcast in my kitchen. But the best example I can give is this summer I chose to go on a trip. I took a bus from my town to the capital and then took a flight from my capital to Seattle. And then I took a train with my friend from Seattle to Los Angeles and back. And we did this in less than 10 days. And let me tell you, do not ever, under any circumstance, take a 36-hour train ride in coach. It's not worth the extra $100 you get to save. I would have chosen sleep instead of getting collectively like 10 hours over the span of 3 days. But so when I first got onto my shuttle at, I want to say 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, I was terrified. I was alone. I wasn't even an adult yet, not quite. And I was about to just take this big magical trip, and I was excited, but I was terrified. I didn't know who I was. I had been struggling with my work ethic. I had been struggling with mental struggles of, was my ADD, ADHD preventing me from having the best life that I could? And was there a lack of stability in my life that was causing me to be so flighty? And it was like the moment I got onto that bus, I got a sense of who I was, a sense of independence that I hadn't had before. And I talked to the first person on the bus. Her name was Caitlin, I believe. Her and I talked on the shuttle from all the way to Twin Falls to Boise. And we just chatted up the entire time, and we found out we had a lot in common. I actually have her contact info. And I got to Boise. That wasn't her last stop, but it was mine. And so I waited inside the Boise airport, where I sat playing on my phone in very uncomfortable silence because I was by myself waiting for my flight. I was about an hour and a half to 2 hours early. And this woman comes up to me and she asks, "Is this seat taken?" And of course I said no, because I was alone. And she just starts talking to me. Her name was Amy. She had a daughter that was in one branch of the military, and she had been getting surgery on her thyroid. I believe it was for a form of cancer, but her mom was flying up to Seattle to check on her. And like I said, I'm not going to give any last names, but this is just so in case I ever come across Amy's dashboard or anything, she'll recognize me. But her and I ended up exchanging information. And she was on the same flight as me, but she was a few seats up, so I didn't really get to talk to her, but we waited for my friend to pick me up from the Seattle airport together. And I was myself. I'm a very extroverted person. I enjoy talking to people, obviously, if I'm totally willing to talk to random strangers. But so I stayed the night at my friend's for a couple days in Seattle area, and it was gorgeous. I loved seeing the trees. I loved being somewhere on my own and feeling fully responsible for myself for the first time in my life. I was the only thing that was keeping myself in check aside from my friend, and even then, she didn't have very much reign over me. She's one of my best friends. She couldn't. But we hopped on the train a couple days into my vacation, and I'd seen a father and his two kids walk past me in the regular cars, and they had guitars. So my interest was piqued. They walked past me up to the lounge car. They walked back. And the second time they walked forward, I look at my friend and I go, "Abby, let's go see what they're doing. I'm very, very curious to see what the people with the guitars are doing." Because I myself am a musician. I love listening to people play music, especially live music. So I followed them up to the lounge car, where I saw this dad and his daughter playing their guitars together, and this was such a future rock star moment. You could see it in her eyes. She was going to be somebody someday. And I'd been just listening to them. I sat behind them in the lounge car. So I guess I sat on the other side of them because all the seats don't face each other. But I sat behind them and they were playing music, and they played House of Gold by 21 Pilots. And I remember I kind of peeked my head around and I said, "That was a good song." And the dad looks at me. His name's Gabriel. He looks at me And he goes, "You sing?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I sure do." He was like, "All right, then sing." And so we started playing music on the bus together. And I think for the next 6 hours, I sang with these people in the lounge car of a train. They got off in Northern California. We were still on the train for a bit. We ended up meeting another kid who played pretty good guitar, and he got off not too far before I did. And we ended up, that same kid, he was 17 at the time. I think he just turned 18. We ended up actually playing hide and seek at the Santa Monica Pier because we took a drive up there with some extended family. And I told him, I was like, "How about this? I'll text you when I'm here. You try to find me." And we ended up playing this game for, I want to say, about 20 minutes. And it was so much fun. And we took a trip from the Los Angeles area down to Laguna Beach and just enjoyed the amazing view. We went to Palos Verdes and all of these amazing places. Venice Beach, which, by the way, holy crap, very crazy. And we took the train ride back where I met a man who spoke French, who was very nice. Actually, no, that was the ride there. My bad. My apologies. Yeah, and I believe the train ride back was a lot more painless because I slept the entire way back. I did not care who I was going to meet. I slept. But we took a drive back because my friend's husband came back from the Navy, and she drove him to the town I lived at because that's where his family is as well. And the reason I'm telling this story is because the amount of things that changed for me when I went on that trip were enormous. I came back with this amazing work ethic. I had recently, earlier in the year, broken up with a long-term boyfriend, and it was a toxic relationship for the both of us. But it had taken a bit of a toll on me, but I let myself grow from it. But I couldn't get my work ethic to fix. I was convinced because of some people in my life that I could not be independent, that I was too codependent on other people and incapable of doing stuff myself. I came back from this trip knowing who I was and not letting anyone tell me differently. Everything in my life up to that point, the bitterness I held towards my ex, the people who had done me wrong in my life, that was the first step that I made in changing my life and putting up with nothing. This gave me a sense of independence that you can't buy, you can't purchase, you can't watch on a Netflix show. The amount of self-awareness that came from just this trip, getting out of where you've lived your entire life. What defined you as a person up until this point was your hometown, was what you know to be true at your hometown. But if you just get out and get that sense of adventure you're talking about, the world is so big, but it's so small. I was in Los Angeles at the same time as one of my friends. I hadn't told anyone I was really going to Los Angeles. She hadn't told anyone either until we looked at each other's stories, and lo and behold, we were both in Los Angeles at the same time in the middle of the summer. She lives in my hometown. We live in the same place, and we just so happened to both be going to Los Angeles. It's a big world, but it's also very, very small. But it is so worth the effort to go out and take that adventure because you are given one lifetime, if you believe that. You are given one lifetime. Are you going to spend your entire life in one place, or are you going to get out there and you're going to see what the world has to offer because you do only have this one lifetime to check it out? Go see the pyramids, go see the Sphinx, go see the Eiffel Tower, go see the Statue of Liberty. Do the things you want to do because at the end of the day, you're going to come home to yourself. Until you're married with kids, the only person you're going to come home to is yourself. Even when you are married with kids, take those adventures together. Make those memories that will shape who you are. Don't let what other people do in the negative lights. Don't let them affect you. Let the good things like adventure and seeing what the world has to offer, and just continue to live and let live. People are going to do bad things. That is inevitable. There are going to be 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 people in your life that do you so wrong that you wonder how they sleep at night. And they sleep just fine, honey. They do. The only one losing sleep over this is you in that situation. Not that you are not valid in your emotions to feel wronged. But there's a point when you got to stand up and be like, you know what? Fine. You're going to do that. You're going to live your life. Yeah, it sucked. Unless they ask for forgiveness, they're gone. They're dead to you. They don't need to be thought about ever again by you. Continue living your life and just move forward, because time isn't going to stop. No one is going to stop for you, and no time is going to stop for you. So you get up, you put on your big boy britches, your big girl britches, whatever. You walk, and you keep walking, because you're the only one that's going to take you where you need to go. And if you want to get out of the house, you're going to get out of the house. You're going to take a walk, maybe walk around the town, maybe walk down in the canyon by you locally, because this isn't at all someone I know. But take a walk. Get out of the house, start there, and then think big. Go out of the country, or even just out of the state. Just get out there and find who you are by just simply existing. You can't be who you are if you're going to let the bitterness that other people cause you by taking up that headspace. You can't be who you are when you let that in. So there's a point where you have to choose hurt or freedom. Are you going to let yourself continue to be hurt by this, or are you going to free yourself and let go and just live? That taste of independence changed my work ethic when I came back. When I came back from that trip, there had been some people in my life that were doing not very good things at all. And I couldn't handle it. There was too much. It was chaotic. It was unstable. And that trip made me realize that it wasn't me that was the instability in my life. It was where I was at, both physically and a bit emotionally, I will say. But I came back from that trip and I moved in with some family. I got a better job, and now I'm in my own apartment with a full-time job, taking care of all of my bills and absolutely no debt. That taste of independence will change your life if you let it. But that's the thing. It's not going to fix everything. You have to allow it to give you that sense of self-value. Like, don't get your value from other people. Get that sense of value from, hey, I did this, and no one else did this for me. No one else did this but me, for me. Get that taste, and you will see that your life changes. You can even do it without leaving the entire country or even your state. Just take a trip around, walk around to a side of town you haven't been to before, go somewhere you haven't been to before, and just have fun. Don't allow other people to take up your brain space rent-free. And live, my friend, live. Because you have this one life. No one's going to live it for you. People are going to try to kill it for you. So you stand up, you walk away, and you walk towards something great. And that is our segment today for letting go of hate and finding adventure in the universe and realizing how big it is. This has been Hope Only with I'm the Only Hope, and thank you for listening. If you have any questions or need some advice, feel free to email me at imtheonlyhope@gmail.com. Thank you so much. Have a great day.